The goodbye that broke me did not happen at a funeral. It happened in a hospital room, on an ordinary Tuesday, with a television humming to no one. People say the worst part of losing someone is when the monitor goes flat. They're wrong. The worst part is choosing which words will be the last ones they ever hear. That Tuesday didn't appear out of nowhere. It grew from years of love, silence, and all the things we meant to say and never did. My story begins on a front porch, with a dirt road and a suitcase too big for the man who carried it. I was 8 when my father left for the war. Morning light was thin and silver. Mama had baked biscuits she didn't eat. Daddy stepped out in his uniform, looking smaller inside it, like it had been sewn for a braver man. His boots on the floor sounded like a clock. He is leaving. He is leaving. Come on, Ellie, he said, crouching. Smile for me. My face wouldn't move. Don't make it harder, sweetheart, Mama whispered. I stared at his suitcase, at the tear in the leather, and blurted the only thing I could. Promise you'll come back. He paused. Just a breath. Even at 8, I knew a pause could be a lie in disguise. Then he smiled. Of course I'll come back. Who else is gonna fix that squeaky swing of yours? He kissed my forehead, my spot, and walked down the steps. I watched his back, every step crushing gravel, every sound counting down. I thought if I stared hard enough, I could hold him there. But eyes are not ropes. They do not pull people back. At the bend in the road he turned, waved once, and vanished in the dust. He did not come back. A letter did. Mama read it at the table, her back to me. He's a hero now, she said, face empty. There was a funeral with a photograph instead of a coffin, a folded flag instead of a man. The last words I ever said to my father were, "Promise you'll come back." They echoed in me for the rest of my life. After Daddy, I started collecting goodbyes. Not by choice. Some lives are simply built that way. I grew into Mama's tight voice. I learned to bake biscuits and not eat them. In our town, women were praised for silence, not honesty. Inside, I felt like a book left open in the rain. By 16 I had 2 rules. I would never send someone I loved away without saying everything. And I would never need anyone so much that their leaving could ruin me. Life smiled at those rules and sent me Thomas. I met him behind the church, throwing pebbles at the bell and missing. Maybe it doesn't like you, I said. Maybe I need better aim, he grinned, handing me a stone. I threw. The bell rang, bright and surprised. We stared, then laughed. That was how it started. Week by week, he slipped into my days, walks home, secrets in the shade, dreams of cities with lights that never went out. When he talked about leaving, the old panic rose. I wanted to say, "Promise you'll stay." I didn't. I'd learned not to ask for promises the world couldn't keep. One July night by the river, I let him kiss me. It felt too right, the kind of right life often punishes. By autumn, I was late. In the bathroom, Mama's eyes did the math. "Who?" she asked. "Thomas," I whispered. Her jaw set. The word abortion was never spoken, but it haunted every silence. A distant aunt who needed help. A baby for a good family. Thomas paced our porch. "I can marry you. We'll figure it out." Mama cut in. "You'll chase your music and leave her here alone with a child she can't feed." He looked at me, desperate. "Ellie, say something." I said nothing. Silence is a choice, and it leaves marks too. The baby came on a cold morning under a tin sky. Mama held my hand. The midwife moved with practiced hands. When they laid him on my chest, I felt nothing, and then everything. He was so small. His fingers curled around mine, and some old knot inside me loosened. "He's perfect," I breathed. "Yes," Mama said, and her voice cracked on the word. They let me hold him for 1 hour. I counted the seconds in my head, like it would stretch the time. Then a car door slammed outside. Footsteps on the porch. Murmurs in the hall. The midwife lifted him from my arms with careful hands. "The longer you hold on, the harder it'll be," she said. Harder for who, she didn't say. Mama stood twisting her apron. "You'll have another chance, when you're married. When it's right." As if love and timing could be scheduled. They carried my son out of the room. I never saw the car that took him away. There was no grave, no folded flag. Just a hollow ache in a body that had been full and was now more empty than ever. That was my first real goodbye. Thomas came to the house once more, hat in his hands, apologies spilling out. "I didn't fight hard enough," he said. "What good would it do now?" Mama answered. "It's done. Best to move on." He looked at me for forgiveness I didn't know how to give. "Take care of yourself, Ellie," he said, and walked down the same dirt road my father had taken. This time I watched from behind the curtain, where he couldn't see me. It felt easier that way. Cowardice often does. For a long time after that, I drifted through my own life. I helped Mama. I sewed in the shop. I avoided the church and the river where fireflies still remembered our names. I told myself I was done with love. Then Samuel arrived on a bus. I first saw him in the grocery aisle, frowning at 2 bags of flour. "You look lost," I said. "Is it that obvious?" he laughed. "My sister wrote, the good kind." I didn't know that meant a whole crisis. "Brown bag," I said. "That's the one people trust." "Then that's the good kind," he smiled. "I'm Samuel." He started bringing shirts to mend, pants too tight in the honest places. At first I thought it was just charm. But he was steady in ways I'd never seen. He didn't push when I pulled back. One afternoon, while I pinned his hem, he said, "I've been thinking. Dangerous habit. But, would you let me walk you home sometime? Or sit on a bench and stare at the fountain, if walking feels like too big a step? You can say no," he added. "I'll still bring you my tragic trousers." Something in his lightness held real care. "All right," I said. "Just walking." For a long time, that's all we did. On a rainy Sunday, with the storm tapping his porch roof, I told him about my son. About Thomas. The cold morning. The car. When I finished, my hands were shaking. "You were a scared girl," Samuel said softly. "People should have protected you better." I let him go, I whispered. "No," he said. "They took him from you. That's not the same. Do you hate me? Ellie, if you think anything you say could make me love you less, you don't know me yet. Real love doesn't flinch when you show it your scars." We married the next spring. A small church. A simple dress I sewed in the back room of the shop. A cake Mama baked, her eyes holding a flicker of regret before she smoothed it away. At the altar, while the pastor prayed, Samuel leaned close. "I will not run," he whispered. "Not from you. Not from our life. Not from the hard things." For the first time, I let myself believe a promise. We moved into a small house on Maple Street with creaky floors and rosebushes that refused to die. We filled it with secondhand furniture and fresh laughter. Samuel fixed anything that broke, including the squeaky swing. "Promised your daddy I'd take care of it," he joked. "You never met my daddy," I said. Still. A swing deserves to swing. 2 years later, we had a daughter. When they laid her in my arms, I braced for that old emptiness. Instead, joy shook me. "We'll keep her," I whispered. "Of course we'll keep her," Samuel said. "She's ours." We named her Rose. 3 years later came our son, David. The house grew loud and messy, toys underfoot, sticky hands, laughter spilling down the hall. On the surface, it looked like peace. Underneath, a river of fear kept running. I watched every fever, every climb up a tree, every late arrival home. When Samuel teased me about worrying, I always said the same thing. I lost one child. I don't intend to lose another. But you cannot keep people safe just by fearing for them. If only you could. Rose grew into her name, bright, thorny, reaching for any light she could find. She drew on everything, paper, walls, the table, her brother's face. Stop that, I'd scold, pulling her away. You're making a mess. Art is supposed to be messy, she'd argue, chin tilted up. Samuel would chuckle. She has a point. Looking back, I see it was my fear wearing the mask of order. I wanted her life neat and controlled, not wild like mine had been. By 16, she spent more time at the library than at home. She read about art schools and cities that stayed awake all night. I have to get out of this place, she said once, while I kneaded bread. This place has fed you your whole life, I replied. It's fed my body, not my soul. She was my daughter, all right. My words, thrown back at me. The fight that changed everything started small. She came home late again, smelling of smoke and someone else's perfume. Where were you? At the diner. With who? Friends. What friends? You don't know them. Back and forth we went, voices sharper each time, until I snapped. You think you're grown, but you don't know anything. Your head is full of drawings and city lights, and you don't see what's right here. This family. This home. The people who love you. She flinched. You don't love me. You control me. You're choking me. In my terror of losing her, I had become a new kind of taker. If you don't like my rules, I said, you can find somewhere else to live. I wanted the words back the moment they left my mouth. Fine, she said quietly. I will. She pulled a suitcase from under her bed and began to pack. She'd already been accepted into an art program in the city. Already saved money. I was going to tell you when it was all sorted, she said. Maybe this is easier. When were you going to tell us? Samuel asked from the doorway. He stepped in, took a sweater from her hands, folded it, laid it in the suitcase. If you go, he said slowly, go knowing you're loved. Don't run as if you're not. Don't burn the bridge behind you. You might want to cross it again someday. I hovered in the doorway, tongue glued to my fear. I wanted to say stay. I wanted to say I'm scared. Instead, I said nothing. Silence, my oldest sin. The next morning, Samuel drove her to the bus. I stayed home, telling myself David needed me there. The truth was simpler, I couldn't face another platform. She called, at first. Quick, bright calls from noisy streets. Letters came, margins full of sketches of strangers and sky. Then calls thinned. Letters slowed. Holidays came and went. Some years she was there in a whirlwind, dropping her bag by the door, filling the rooms with stories. Other years, a card took her place. Next year, she wrote. I promise. I had stopped believing in promises long ago. Then came the Second War. David wanted to enlist. Like Grandpa, he said. Your grandfather didn't come back, I answered. I know. But someone has to go, he said. I can't just stay here fixing faucets while other boys fight. We drove him to the station. This time, I went. I hugged him hard enough to wrinkle his uniform. Come back to me, I whispered. I will, he promised. I can't promise the world, but I can try. He did come back. Changed, but alive. Not all goodbyes are forever. Samuel's heart began to fail not long after. His heart is tired, the doctor said. Pills, appointments, short walks that ended sooner each month. Life narrowed to careful routines. I carried more, he carried less. Then the phone rang at the hardware store. He had collapsed. At the hospital they said words like massive and nothing we could do, and he went quickly. All I heard was the echo of his promise, I will not run. At the funeral, people told me how lucky I was. So many good years. At least he didn't suffer. Gratitude and grief shared the same bed. At night I lay in the quiet and whispered into the dark, you said you'd stay for the hard things. I didn't know the hardest thing was still ahead. 3 years later, on a Thursday, the phone rang. Is this Eleanor Burton? A woman asked. I'm calling from St. Mary's Hospital in the city. Your daughter, Rose, you're listed as her emergency contact. My first thought was foolish, she still had my name on a form. Then the rest of the words landed. Emergency contact. Is she all right? I asked. Was there an accident? There's been an illness, the woman said softly. It would be best if the doctor explained in person. I knew that kind of pause. I'd heard it before they told us Daddy was gone. Before they took my baby boy. I'll come now, I said. I grabbed my purse and, without thinking, the box under my bed that held all of Rose's letters. The bus ride to the city felt like traveling to another planet. Buildings rose higher, people moved faster, no one met anyone's eyes. At the hospital, the clerk typed my name and said, 6th floor. Oncology. Oncology. The word landed like lead. Cancer. Of course. The 6th floor hallway was too bright. A nurse led me to room 614 and left me at the door. I stood there with my hand on the handle, heart pounding like it had the day I first walked into a nursery. I was afraid she wouldn't want to see me. I opened the door. I almost didn't recognize her. My Rose, always full of color, was pale against white sheets. Her hair was gone beneath a scarf. Her eyes were too large in her thin face. Hi, Mama, she said, as if I'd just walked in from the kitchen. You look good, I lied. She smirked. You don't have to say that. I've seen a mirror. I stepped closer. How long has this been going on? A while, she admitted. Didn't want to worry you. I'm your mother, I said. Worrying about you is my job. Yeah, she said softly. You were always very good at it. The doctor came and talked about stage 4 and metastasized and palliative care. We would keep her comfortable. We would make sure she wasn't alone. Underneath all the careful language was the truth. We cannot save her. In the corner there was a girl in a chair, headphones around her neck, sketchbook on her knees. Mom, she asked. Is this? Yes, Rose said. This is your grandmother. Ellie, this is Lily. My granddaughter. Hi, she said, standing awkwardly. I've seen pictures of you. I held up the box. And I've kept every letter, I said to Rose. She smiled faintly. You kept them. Of course. The days blurred. I slept in a hard chair. I learned the rhythm of nurses and beeping machines. Lily sat by the window and drew, her mother, the city, the light on white walls. I told her stories about Rose as a child. I left out the worst fights. Some truths can wait until after the first grief. One night, when the hallway was quiet and the machines hummed like faraway insects, Rose said, Mama, we need to talk. She glanced at Lily, asleep in the chair. I'm not going to be here much longer, she whispered. We all know it. Don't, I said. Don't talk like that. If not now, when? She asked gently. I need you to promise me something. My chest tightened. Promises had always cost us. What is it? I asked. Take care of her, she said, looking at Lily. Take care of my girl. But don't smother her. Don't make her live under your fear the way I did. Tears burned my eyes. I was trying to protect you. I know that now, she said. But it felt like you were holding your past over my future. She drew a shallow breath. I don't want that for her. How can you ask me to let her go, I whispered, when I'm about to lose you? Because if you don't, she said, you'll break both of us. Me now. Her later. My whole life had been loss. Daddy. My first son. Thomas. Rose leaving. Samuel. I didn't know how to let go without breaking. Maybe you're supposed to break, she said softly. Maybe that's how something new grows. I'm sorry, I sobbed. For not coming sooner. For saying the wrong things. For making you feel like you had to choose between your life and my love. I forgave you a long time ago, she whispered. I just didn't know how to tell you. I love you, I said. Always. Even when I was wrong. I know, she answered. That's what made it so hard to leave. Promise me, she said again. Don't make Lily carry your ghosts. I thought of every suitcase, every platform, every silence I'd chosen instead of truth. I promise, I said. The words cut my throat on their way out. Something in me cracked. A pattern I'd lived my whole life finally broke. The next day, the doctor spoke to me about the machines. We can ease her passing, he said. Make sure she's not suffering. I remembered all the times I had let others choose for me. This time, the choice was mine. I don't want her to hurt, I said. Then we can help, he replied. Nothing about it felt like help. But I stayed. That was all I could give. That night, Rose asked me to sing. Old lullabies I'd sworn I'd never repeat came out of my mouth anyway. Her face softened. Her shoulders eased. For all my failures, I could still offer this small mercy. They turned off the machines in the late afternoon, when the light was kind. The room grew strangely quiet. Lily held one of Rose's hands, I held the other. I love you, Mom, Lily said. I'll finish your city paintings. I'll make you proud. You already have, Rose breathed. She turned her head a fraction toward me. Thank you for coming, she whispered. I'm sorry, I sobbed. For everything I didn't say. For everything I said wrong. You're human, she murmured. That's all. Her eyes fluttered. Remember our promise. I remember, I said. I'll take care of her. I'll let her live. I leaned close, my forehead against hers. I love you, Rose. From the moment I knew you existed until whatever comes next. I am proud of you. For leaving. For living. For being more than my fear. I love you too, Mama, she exhaled. And then she was gone. The monitor wailed and then went flat. I had always thought that sound would be the worst part. It wasn't. The worst part was the silence after, the space where her voice had been, the knowledge there would be no more chances to get it right. That was the goodbye that broke me. After the funeral, days blurred into casseroles and careful phrases. At least she's not suffering. She's in a better place. Maybe. None of it helped at the kitchen table where her chair sat empty. Lily came to stay. Just until we figure things out, the social worker said. She was 17. Too young to lose a mother. Too old to be comforted like a child. Grief hung on her like a coat 2 sizes too big. She walked the house, touching the table, the photos, the old swing. Mom told me stories about this place, she said. Said you had rules about feet on the furniture. I did, I answered. Do you still? The old me would have said yes without thinking. Rules had been my shield. Instead, I paused. I've learned some rules matter less than I thought, I said. She grinned and climbed up on the table, socks leaving faint marks on the wood. My heart lurched, then settled. Let her stand where she needs to, I thought. We built a life. She went to school. I packed lunches and sometimes slipped in little notes. We fought over curfews and noise. Every slammed door scared me. This time, I did something new. I apologized when I was wrong. I told her I was afraid and why. Sometimes, when you walk out that door, I see everyone I've lost walking with you, I said once. I get tight inside. That's mine to untangle, not yours. She nodded. That sounds hard. It is, I said. Well, she replied, good thing we're stubborn. Years passed. Lily dyed her hair, filled her room with canvases, brought home friends whose names I kept straight on sticky notes. The house, once too quiet, pulsed with her music and laughter. Underneath it all, my promise to Rose beat like a second heart: let her go when it's time. I didn't know when time would come. Secretly, I hoped it never would. It came on an ordinary Wednesday. Grandma? Lily said from the doorway, an envelope in her hand. I got an acceptance letter. From where? I asked, though my bones already knew. The art school. In the city. Of course. I took the letter. Words swam: congratulations, portfolio, fall term. She watched my face. It's an amazing program, she said. Studios, galleries, mentors. I want to go. But I don't want to leave you alone. There it was, the weight I had put on Rose, now reaching for Lily's shoulders. I heard my daughter's voice in that hospital room: don't make her carry your ghosts. Come sit, I said. We sat at the old table. I laid the letter between us like a treaty. You want to go, I said. Yes, she breathed. More than anything. But if you need me to stay. I will miss you every day, I said. In 1,000 small ways. But missing someone is not a good enough reason to keep them from their life. Her eyes filled. Are you sure? No, I said honestly. I'm afraid. I am still that girl on the porch who thought staring hard enough could keep people from leaving. But I promised your mother I would not make you live inside my fear. I reached for her hands. So this is me opening the door, I said, instead of blocking it. She threw her arms around me, almost knocking the letter to the floor. Thank you, she whispered. Thank you. Her gratitude hurt almost as much as her leaving would. She shouldn't have to thank me for not clipping her wings. But she did, and I tucked that moment beside my grief. The months that followed were filled with lists and boxes and budgets. Every form we filled out tied us closer to the future. At night I sat on the porch swing and talked to the dark. I'm doing it, Rose, I said. I'm letting her go. I hope you know how much this hurts. In the creak of the chains and the wind through the leaves, I like to imagine my daughter answering, I know, Mama. I know. The day Lily left, the sky was a bright, merciless blue. We loaded her bags into David's car. He insisted on driving us to the station. I knew it was his way of saying goodbye too. The bus station looked smaller but familiar. New paint. Different faces. Same smell of coffee and exhaust. Same feeling of standing on the edge of something. This is really happening, Lily said. It is, I replied. We stood there with too many words and not enough time. Don't forget to eat, I said. She won't, David added. She's not a plant. Call when you get there, I said. She will, he answered. I know, I said, trying to believe it. When the bus pulled in, my body remembered every goodbye. My chest tightened. My knees went weak. Hey, Lily asked softly. You okay? No, I said. But that's all right. Telling the truth made the fear just a little smaller. They called for boarding. People lined up, hearts and suitcases in hand. It's time, she said. I looked at her, the freckles, the paint on her fingers, the same spark I had seen in Rose, and chose my words with care. I love you, I said. I am proud of you. Go paint the world. Let it scare you sometimes. When you think of me, let it be a warm thought, not a weight. Tears ran down her cheeks. I will, she whispered. I promise. She hugged David, then turned back to me. I don't know when I'll be back, she said. That's all right, I answered, surprising myself. Come when you can. And if life takes you somewhere else, call, write, send pictures. Let me see the world through your eyes. All my life I had begged people to stay. Now, I was blessing someone to go. That was the second goodbye that broke me. But this time, the breaking made room for something else, trust. She climbed onto the bus, found a window seat, pressed her hand to the glass. I pressed mine to the other side. The glass was cold between us. The bus pulled away. I watched until it turned the corner and disappeared. This time, I did not believe my eyes could hold her there. I knew better now. Eyes are not ropes. Love is not control. Love is the space you keep at your table in case they ever need to come home. Now, years later, I sit in this old house, the one Samuel fixed, where my children grew, where my granddaughter painted on the dining room floor, and I tell you this story. If you're thinking of your own goodbyes, the ones you had, the ones you never got, the ones that are coming, know this. You are not weak because they broke you. You are not beyond repair because someone's absence rearranged your heart. Being broken is not the end of the story. Sometimes it's where the light finally gets in. Sometimes it's where a new pattern begins. A mother who clung learns to open her hands. A girl who lost everyone learns to let someone go and still believe they belong to her in a deeper way. If I could speak to that 8-year-old on the porch, watching her father disappear, I would tell her this. You cannot keep anyone by clutching their sleeve. You keep them by who you become because they passed through your life. That is what the goodbye that broke me finally taught me. It shattered the old way I loved. It hurt more than I knew a heart could hurt and still beat. But in the cracks, new things grew. Compassion. Patience. The courage to say, go, and know you are loved, instead of, stay, so I won't be alone. Now Lily sends photos, her studio, messy and bright, friends in tiny kitchens, paintings in colors I don't have names for. Sometimes she calls late. Grandma, I'm tired. Grandma, I'm scared. Grandma, I got into a gallery. I listen. I love. I give advice when she asks and hold my tongue when she doesn't. After we hang up, I sit on the porch swing and look at the sky. Did you hear that, Rose? I ask the night. She's doing it. She's really doing it. In the rustle of the leaves, I imagine my daughter's laughter, not the laughter of a girl running away, but the laughter of a woman who knows the story finally changed. If this story stirred something in you, take a breath. Think of the people you love, here, gone, or drifting. Is there something you need to say? An apology, a blessing to go, a welcome home? You don't need a perfect moment. Just a breath, and the courage to speak before the next goodbye comes. And if this story helped you find that breath, or gave you company in your own quiet room tonight, I'd be grateful if you'd tap the like button. It helps more wandering hearts find their way here to Dust of Old Days. And if you'd like to sit with more stories like this, grandmother style, slow, a little cracked around the edges but honest, then you're welcome to subscribe to Dust of Old Days. There will always be another chair at this table. Another pot of tea. Another story about the ways we lose each other, and, sometimes, if we're lucky, the ways we find each other again. Until then, wherever you are, whoever you're missing. Good night. And may your goodbyes, when they come, break you only enough to let more love in.